Hello, I'm Elliott Mitchell, the music production course, and today I'm in my home studio and I'll run you through the creation of my fresh new genre called hyper rock. And to do this, I will play you a track called Ooklaa. So with this track, I wanted to start conceptualizing hyper rock and what the moving parts would sound like. As for this isn't a completed song, as I have many plans to collaborate with others to fully my satisfaction with the first in its genre. My inspiration from the song derives a lot from the Underscore's work, particularly their new album, Fishmonger, which focuses on a fresh take on hit hyperpop with their combination of acoustic and dramatic electronic instruments. It gives a larger-than-life atmosphere. Collaborating this style with the style of another favourite artist of mine, Biffy Clyro, whose music is larger-than-life in a more rock aspect, with gritty instrumentation and thrilling crowd-chanting performances, the band feels to me like they have embodied the theme of Metallica, Nirvana and Foo Fighters with a touch of the Pixies. However, the band has indeed found their style and is incredible to see. What I want to take from these influences is the hyperactive sound of the Underscores and add it to the feel-good rock anthems of Biffy Clyro. My main focus is live play, and to make it the best, I feel these two styles work in conjunction to create a memorable experience for listeners. Right now, I'm going to do a live playback of the song and pause at different intervals to tell you what I did. Right, let's play the track. The first introduction part is a staccato string sound, wet in harmonic distortion to get a gritty sound, and it is underlined with a deep riser and a flurry of crash cymbals with increasing velocity to help create a build of tension into the second part of the intro. Okay, let's continue. We are then met with pitched down arcade vocal loops and a few synths riffing around to give off a vast and empty atmosphere before the claustrophobic in-your-face hook comes. A constant throughout the song is the hyperventilating breathing sound that occurs before larger-than-life parts. It was a decision made by myself to mimic the breathing time before the high-intensity section comes. Right, welcome to the next section, the hook. Right, okay, so the hook section is a build. It gets more complicated as it goes along. The hook starts with a prominent sawtooth wave created by adding harmonies with distortion on top of a sine wave lead. I wanted it to be catchy so that it would stick in your head. That's why the melody is very straightforward but still very effective. It is also coupled with a distorted guitar to give it that rock feel. To get them sounding cohesive, I bussed the same effects onto the synth and the guitar. I used Guitar Rig 6 to create an amp with distortion and added CLA guitars, a plugin that I haven't used in around a year, and it gave it a rich sound by taking away some of the lows and adding brightness with a touch of reverb and delay to make it dominate the high end, still leaving the mids open for a vocalist. The drums I used in this resemble Sophie, a late hyperpop artist, as her sound was iconic, and drum samples were available from her on Splice, so I decided to use a fair few of them to get that hard-hitting punch that this track desperately needed. We get onto the leading hook, and I use a technique that I acquired from Pharrell Williams, where he chops up the first beat of the hook and repeats it 4 times before it drops. I believe it makes it a very explosive drop. As well as this, I wanted to introduce the authentic sounding drum kit from Superior Drummer 3, so I did this by using a complex fill into the next section. Hey, what's up? We're now on the bed. My laptop kind of ran out of charge, so we're over here now. The next section is the big hook. Let's take a listen. Alright, so the hook is a carbon copy of the previous one, but this time with a drum kit rather than the electric one I developed. I use a fast tempo, a 2/4 snare pattern with a syncopated push rhythms. to give it more danceability. I also made the crash the power hand to make the section pop and stand out. The drums take prominence away from the lead from this point forth. This was a conscious decision to make it a more groovy section that relies heavily on the groove of the drums. Well, welcome to the next section. This one is the verse. Let's hear it. Alright, so the following section uses toms in the power hand that I feel gives a very Phil Collins vibe. And then it goes into a more open section with more use of the hi-hat, specifically the open hi-hat, which I feel it opens it up for the next deep bass sounding section very well. This next section is a bridge from the verse to the outro. Let's hear it. Alright, so this next section is a flurry of kicks going from a low velocity to a high velocity, and on the beat it hits with a guitar chord and then into another flurry of kicks, and on that beat it hits with 3 guitar chords and then another flurry, and then into the outro section with faster paced drums. There's also the aforementioned hyperventilating that is also giving in this sort of section a very claustrophobic feel. This last section is the outro section. It uses fast-paced drums and leading into the tom fill section previously heard that sounded a lot like Phil Collins. Let's hear it. And that's it for the track. In summary, I was so happy with the way the track turned out. It resembles my vision with high clarity. However, in hindsight, I feel like I neglected the bass element in the opening half of the track. It could have stood out more using compression or increasing levels to give more body to it. What I learned from the making of this track is to be more adventurous. In my previous work, I was often fearful of my beats being wrong, but from weeks of experimentation and iterations, I now have something I'm very proud of. My favourite element by far is the drums. The fusion of the electronic drums and the acoustic kit I used in this beat generates a great synergy. Ooklaa, I feel, will be a template for my future tracks as it carries so much uniqueness from what I have seen on the market currently. Therefore, if I push in that direction, I will have a great selling point for my music. Thank you for watching the track breakdown. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Bye bye.